Hello and welcome to our masterclass. So excited today to be talking about the intuitive channel. And I'm Catherine Bird. If you don't know me, I am a teacher, shaman, facilitator. I help to train the mystics and the misfits into their highest expression of their gifts and to bring out these innate talents and skills that we're here to develop and learn so that we can help with the evolution of consciousness and healing on this planet and live our most beautiful activated lives. So I'm excited to be here with you this month with a series of masterclasses on channeling and some different aspects of channeling that aren't talked about a lot. So today, I want to talk about the intuitive or the accidental channel that a lot of times we see on, maybe we check out channelers who are on YouTube, or we're familiar with Bashar, Abraham Hicks, or some of the more well-known channels, people who are writing books and so on. And we kind of tune into them, and we don't see a lot of the background. We don't see how that happened. We don't see what happened to them. We don't see how that started. We don't see what it looked like at the beginning. We don't understand their process that they went through. Generally, that part is just not really discussed. It's not talked about. And I really want to demystify this part of the process, because we're all going through these awakenings at different stages and in different ways. And some people have very smooth, easy awakenings. They sort of show up this way and they're just, easy. And then some of us have very intense awakenings, and we experience a lot of confusion and a lot of issues that come up through these processes as we are opening our channels and starting to bring in more information and connect to the spirit realms and to understand our energy bodies and to heal ourselves so that we can raise our vibration and connect to these beings and these energies and bring through the healing, the information, the wisdom, the guidance that we're here to connect to. So I've just done a masterclass on Signs You Are a Channel. And so I hope that you got to check that one out, and really went into the 9 different forms of mediumship or channeling and how different people can be bringing in different ways that we're connecting to the other realms, and that we're reading information, that we're receiving information. And so all of you are different. All of you are special. I know that we're not supposed to say you're all special snowflakes, but heck, you are all special snowflakes that are receiving information in much different ways from each other. And so this is one of the other pieces, is that sometimes it's very challenging to discuss these topics because everyone is having a very personal, individualized experience and are moving at different rates. So today I wanted to talk about how we can kind of mess ourselves up a little bit by just not having consciousness around what it is that we're doing. And there are a lot of people out there who are engaging in some form of mediumship, some form of connection to the other realms, bringing things through without knowing it, with zero consciousness, with zero ability to understand what's going on in the other realms, what's happening in their own system, in their own reality. And we can enter into these states and not really understand them, not know what's happening, and we can be really confused by this. And right now we're inundated with so much mystical knowledge and information, practices, things that we can be trying. We go to a festival and you're like, there's 10 different things that could be awakening and opening your channel. Or you start working on these different practices, and stuff starts happening. And it can be really confusing or frightening for some of us. And some of the ways that we are starting to activate our channel are really in any of the mystical practices, the movement meditation practices. Anything that starts to open the channels, I mean, come on, open the channel, open the channels, that starts to relieve the blockages in our system, that starts to align our central channel running through the center of our body with the divine and with the earth. When this stuff starts opening up in a physical, energetic way, which is what actually happens, then more information come in more easily. So yoga, qigong, breath work, any of the shamanic practices that allow you to enter into a deep trance state, hypnotherapy, drumming, singing, trance dancing, working with different kinds of medicines, whether those are plant medicines or a lot of people through the use of psychedelics or other kinds of medicines, even things that we might not consider the far out, you know, the ayahuascas or mushrooms or LSD, all of these different things. We might actually have awakenings from things that we might have considered in the past sort of party drugs, of MDMA, or things that are not considered these more intense plant medicines, but utilizing even just flower essences and tinctures and spagyrics, alchemical processes working with plants, starting to open our awareness to the plant realm by working with plant allies, even if they're not the heavy hitters that we hear about, can also start to open up our channel. So there's all of these different ways. What else? We have anything that is opening and stretching your channels in your body, moving energy through your body. Anything that starts moving through energy through your body can start to open up pathways where more information can start to come through. And this can also include receiving healing work or shamanic work, activation work from an activated person. And this happens a lot. I see a lot of people who either go to a medicine ceremony, or they go to a festival and they take something, or they go to see a healer or a shaman and they get activated. So they're lying on a table and all of a sudden they're seeing things and smelling things, remembering things, having voices come. And this might be the beginning of a complete unwinding and cracking open of the channel. A lot of times we have blocked and shut down our channel when we're children. I talked about this in the last class, about all the reasons that we do that. There's so many reasons that we do it. And it's as though now we are coming in and we're pulling the stopper off the bottle. And at that point, it can be intense, overwhelming. Anything that you're doing to activate your intuition and your inner guidance. So any kind of meditation work that you're doing can activate this. And also working on like hypnotherapy, past life regression, doing past life healing work can often open the channel, because sometimes we shut down our channel as children, and then sometimes we shut down our channel in a past life, and going in and starting to do that deeper healing work can activate the channel. Is the sound, can you guys tell me, is the sound okay? I forgot to put my headset in, and I just want to make sure I'm not like sounding weird or echoey or anything. Yay. Okay. So I have so much to say and so little time, and yeah, if you know me, I'm like, I want to tell you so much. I want to teach you so much. So I just want to make sure we get on just a few important points here today in this short class. There are so many different types of channels. Again, I talked about 9 different forms of mediumship or channeling in the last class, and that there are a lot of people who are out and about in the world that are having channeling mediumship experiences without knowing it. And a lot of those people are actually people who are connecting to the spirit realms without knowing it through elements of addiction and the almost the more negative stuff. So there's lots of beings all over the place. There's light beings and dark beings and everything in between, and the farthest extremes of all of that. And they're everywhere. No big deal. It's like no fear. It's not a big deal. They just exist. They exist like we exist, and they're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. But when we start to have a vibrational resonance with particular stream of energy, then like attracts like, and we start to kind of hang out with our crowd. And so we are collecting our energetic matches out there. And you'll see that with your friends. At certain points, you might decide to kind of upgrade your life and get rid of some of your bad patterns and habits and addictions and ways of beings. And all of a sudden, some of your friends go away and you start getting new friends. Same thing if we start to kind of fall in with the wrong crowd, right? There are a lot of spiritual spirits that are hanging out in bars and places where people are engaging in very shadow, negative, grasping, greedy realities. And I mean, just you can look at our political system and people who are in power, people who are making $1 billion and seem to never have enough. They're always greedy. They always want more and more and more and more and more. People who are in that are often connected unconsciously to spirit realms that are yeah, they're like, yes, oh, I want some more. I'm hanging out with my buddy. I'm getting my spiritual feed on by hanging out with you while you screw people over and take their money and mess up their lives so that you can have more money that you don't even need and not do anything good with it. We start, and in that there are these contracts that start to be made. There are these connections, these cords that start to sink in with people, and it's like a feedback loop that goes on and on and on. And so this is a very unconscious way of engaging with the spirit realms. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what happens. It's just a collective frequency that's being amplified, much the same way as we look at like a mob mentality of, wow, those people just did some crazy stuff. Why would they do that? Well, they all got together and they all worked up their energy together and they all worked up all of this like negativity with each other. And then they went out and did this insane stuff that they probably individually wouldn't have even comprehended to do. And so that energy, those thought forms have power. And the spirit realms are connected. They're connected to thought forms. They're connected to emotions. Emotions are highly, they're food to the spirit realms. And so they will connect into our emotional bodies and our energy bodies and start to interact with us. And so the more that we're raising our vibration and we're healing our old wounds and we're dealing with our emotions and we're not repressing them and we're looking at our behaviors, at our addictions, we're looking at the things that are keeping us in a lower field, then the less that we have that interaction with those beings. And also when we're being conscious of of calling in light beings and being conscious of what we're actually calling into our lives, just the same as I might, right now I'm looking at moving and I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm not sure what's happening yet. And I'm getting some very clear guidance as to some things that I need to be doing, not necessarily what I want to be doing actually, but things that I seem to be getting guidance on. Now I can actively vision in and work on, what am I calling into my life? What am I creating? What am I doing? What are the energies I want to work with? What's the life I want to create? What's the vision that I'm making? What's my mission? What's my purpose? How am I feeding that with my passion and my love, my compassion, everything that I got to create what I'm here, what I want to call in? Or I can just be like, well, just whatever. I don't really care what I get. I can just, just be unconscious as to the decisions that I'm making. I can be unconscious in all of my decisions. And this is the same thing. Having a higher state of consciousness, it streams everywhere. It goes everywhere and it affects everything. And so it's all of the even the little decisions that we're making on a regular and daily basis as to how we choose to think about other people. Are we saying yes to negative thought forms that might not even be ours? Are we saying yes to allowing ourselves to engage in activities and behaviors that are actually breaking down our force field, breaking down our energy body, so that we're more we're more vulnerable to being fed upon and being influenced and letting stuff in that doesn't necessarily belong there. And even if you're like not quite sure about the spirit realms, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, I believe in spirit realms. But even just on an energetic basis, on an energy basis, it's the same thing. So I just want to make sure that I'm coming. Does this resonate with anybody? We're also, certain ones of us, we have a natural tendencies towards being connected to certain types of beings. I'm sure that maybe you are, or you have met people who are very galactic. They're just like, you meet them and you're like, wow, you're awesome, but you're totally not from here. You're like really alien person. I love my alien peeps. They're so interesting and they just see things from a different perspective for sure. And there are some people who are very connected to the deceased and to being actually that assistance to helping souls to understand that they are deceased and to move to the next plane. So because of that, there can be instances that are more subtle and things that you're unaware of happening that are occurring on a regular basis, sort of like, hey, over here, hello, over here, pay attention over here. Are you interested in connecting to me? Oh, it's very quiet. And if we keep saying no, we can just be like, no, I don't want to look at dead people. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Get out of my field, get out of my house. I don't want to know that you're there. And we can block things. We can be like, no, I don't want to know anything about aliens. Like, freak me out. No, go away. We can do that. We are sovereign beings. We get to choose that. And we get to choose the other as well. We get to be conscious in our choices. Sometimes we think that we don't have a choice. Either these things are showing up for me and they're there and they're annoying and I don't really like them and they're bugging me and I can't sleep and whatever this thing's going on. or but I don't have the choice. I don't have the choice to state what my needs and my desires are in this relationship. And all of the work with the spirit realms is just relationship building with the relationships that I have. That the more that I can bring consciousness to my practices, to my invocations, to who I'm working with and how I'm working within my energy body, my energy field, then I'm calling in what I do want to work with. And maybe listening to the things that I have a more natural tendency to work with and going, okay, what are the issues that I have around this? Why am I afraid of this? Why am I freaked out? Why do I want to shut this down? What am I afraid of? And really unwinding those belief structures. And then also we can see that when we are having unconscious, I don't know if this is a word, but non-sovereign, like we're not actually being sovereign. We're not taking care of our energy body. We're not taking care of our emotional body. We're not taking care of our physical body. We're not caring for our system. When we're engaging in those realities, then we can be weakening ourselves and creating all kinds of different mental stuff, mental disharmonies, and physical issues that can come up. So it's really what this little class, I want you to receive from it, is that you can be unconscious in what's happening to you, or you can be conscious in what you are creating, participating in. For those that are naturally very sensitive, open channels, you can choose not. You can choose no, 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 just no. I don't want, no, just go away, no, whatever, right? You can choose that, sovereign being, free will. But often, one of the reasons that you came here was to actually learn how to handle this, to master it, to express it, because you have a soul's calling to be an active participant in some sort of spiritual guidance on the planet, to be helping other people with either healing themselves or activating their own gifts or bringing wisdom to the planet to be expressed out, or simply to be bringing in a frequency. A lot of us, we think channeling is all about like, I'm going to say the words and it's going to be like from an alien and it's going to have this thing about technology and it's going to, a lot of us are simply called in to be a channel of frequency, to anchor a frequency on the planet in a specific place at a specific time for the purpose of helping to elevate the collective frequency for the planet, for the field of the planet. Yeah? Does that sound resonance with anybody? And the process that we go through to get to that place can feel very messy and confusing and odd and lonely and like, what's going on? It can feel very intense energetically. Opening the channel doesn't necessarily always just feel like, ah. Sometimes it can be so much heat, so much fire, so much electricity feeling. It can be very intense on the physical body. So there's so much more rest that needs to occur. There's a lot of consideration that needs to happen. So I want to drop in some of the places that we really get in trouble. Is number one, we start opening and we just are open to everything all day long, all night long. There's too much stuff coming in. We're calling in every spirit we've ever heard of, every being, every angel, every animal, every whatever. our space is super full, and we're just like constantly processing and running stuff through our system, and we burn ourselves out. That's like one of the top things I see with people is energetic physical burnout from over opening too soon, without, especially without having a fully grounded, sourced energy body, physical body. We are living in another place where we go a little bit awry, is that we allow ourselves to be so deep in our trauma body and our pain body and our victimhood that what we're calling in, we're lowering our own vibration. Like we're just living in it, being in it, not actually doing the work that we need to do to move through it, but just living in it and being in it, and engaging in anger, fear, very low vibrational stuff, and engaging in our addictions. And so we all have low vibrational stuff. We all get angry. We all have fear. We all have things that are like, addictions. We're all fucking addicted to social media. Let's face it, right here, right now. All of the things that we're addicted to, sugar, coffee, sex, whatever it is. We've all got stuff. But it's going through those healing processes with yourself, receiving support on those, to acknowledge the places where that stuff is still there, or what's coming up, and doing the work, the internal work, the emotional release work, the catharsis work, the somatic work, the therapy, all of those little pieces that we need in order to find ourselves in that higher vibrational field, and working with our higher vibrational guides and beings of light to support that process. Because if you are signing up to be a channel, then your shit is going to come up, and it's going to come up hard. It's going to come up hard. It's going to come up fast. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. I'm a fake. I'm a failure. I'm a total asshole because I still have these issues. Yeah, you still have those issues because your mom was a bitch and she didn't take care of you, right? And you've got to go in and clean that stuff up. And your guides are there to support you through that process, but it takes active commitment to doing our own work to get us there. So that's one of the places that we falter, is that we think spiritual gifts equals evolved, healed person. Absolutely not. You can be a psychic, channel, whatever you want to say, whatever. You can have the most amazing gifts and skills ever and not actually be whole and healthy and ethical and consistent and clear. So that's another place that we really mess up, and you'll see it in spiritual teachers out there who basically turn on their channel. They're bringing in spiritual wisdom. I think that then they're also connecting to spirit beings who are not of the highest, but seem like they are. And you'll see over time their psychology warp, and they become gross distortions of the teachings that they're offering to teachings of love and kindness and respect and empathy and healing. And yet then in their personal life, they're manipulative and vindictive and angry and taking advantage of people. So this is a place where we get into big trouble as mystics. Yeah. Whoosh. There's so much stuff here. I'm like, I want to give you guys so much information. This is such a great topic. I love it. If you have anything to chat in, please do. Let's see, where else do we mess up is in not doing physical energetic practices. Thinking that you can just like sit down, connect to source spirit, and bring stuff through without doing any work on yourself, like I just said. but it is vital and important to build the energy field of your body in order to sustain this work. Because the more light you bring in, the more connected you are to the higher realms, the other stuff's there too. It's hanging out. It's curious. It wants to know. There are a lot of dark beings who love the light. They want to find the light. They're looking for light. And hey, here's the light. So it takes that constant dedication, commitment towards doing the practices that none of us want to do, to to elevating our frequency, to changing our diet. And like what I totally don't want to do, right? I'm like, oh, I just want to eat sugar and I want to eat toast all day. And okay, no, all right, I'm gonna do some things here. Another place where we really need support is understanding protocols of safety and protection, and and this goes hand in hand with this expansion of the energy field, the solidification of the sovereign state of the energy body being completely activated and being able to sit or stand in light frequency. How much light frequency can you run through your body that's pushing all of your internal blockages and old stuck emotional issues out of your system, so that there's not these places, these belief systems, emotional blobs and goo in your field that attracts things that are looking for that. They're looking for that stuff to key into. So because it's food, it's like, oh great. Like she's got all of this old repressed anger in her field. Awesome. Like let's munch. Let's get in on that. Like that feels awesome. Let's hang out over here. I keep coming back to, it's all about you. It's not, in the end, it's not about what else is out there giving you information. The truth is, it's all about you activating your own inner sovereign state and your own ability to be open completely, because you're cleaning out all of the goo. Clean out the goo. Some other places that we kind of might mess up a little bit is in cultivating relationships with spirits that maybe aren't helpful. And that goes within that same vein, where we start connecting to beings and we're like, oh, this is my savior being. This being's going to give me something. This being's promising me something. This being's going to create something in my life. And we're actually connecting to beings that aren't very helpful. They're just not helpful, or they're worse than not helpful, whatever that is. So destructive in our lives. So this is something that we don't need to be afraid of. I never preach fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. But to be conscious and aware of that can happen based on what I'm saying before, of the work that we need to do on ourselves. We can also run into trouble by doing a lot of work where we're unconscious. We're not conscious in the work. Being a conscious channel, I believe, is really helpful to maintaining our sovereign state and our safety and protection. I'm an advocate for conscious channeling, and some people might not say that, but that's for me. I think that especially at the beginning, if we're completely losing consciousness, sometimes that we can get into weird places where we're not sure what's happening. If we're not sure of what's happening in our energy body and our little thread that's leading to us, if we're not really aware of that ability to have our self connected to our spiritual body, our spirit body, if we're constantly leaving ourselves, dissociating. So if we have experienced a lot of trauma and we are highly dissociative, when an influx of intense energy comes in, we can actually dissociate from our body to the point where it's not actually that healthy. So this is another piece of, oh, I got to deal with myself. I've got to work around it. Let's see. And yeah, not doing our holding our sovereign state, not doing energy practices to build our field, and then also falling into pride and superiority and greed. And also on the other side of that coin is our doubt, our fear, and our shame. Pride, superiority, and greed, doubt, fear, shame, they're two sides of the same piece that if we're cultivating those frequencies and energies, we get ourselves in trouble. And also just like being really like weekend warrior about this. And I see a lot of people who, you know, go to a festival and they're like, oh, no, now I'm doing this and now I'm this. This is a lifelong study. This is a lifelong practice. I'm constantly, consistently learning from all the years that I've been engaging in these works. I am always studying. I'm always reading. I'm always training. I'm always studying with other people. I'm always practicing in different ways. This is not something that's like, oh, I just did a thing and now it's like, because it evolves, it grows. You evolve, you grow. That's how it's supposed to work. And sometimes we rest on our laurels, or we think that one thing has happened and now it means, you know, this something something. And then also, you know, under that realm of doubt, just like not believing ourselves, not believing what's coming through, not believing, and letting ourselves be like, okay, this is a thing. This is a thing. I am a thing. This is a thing. I believe you. I believe me. I believe in me. And cultivating that sense of, even though I don't believe me all the time, or I can't understand why this is working or how this is working, I'm going to do it anyway. And that is the key. I'm going to give you the key right now to believing the unbelievable, is that when you feel like, I just, you know, this is happening right now, you keep going. You do it anyway. And over time, then you go, oh, somebody gives you great feedback, and over time somebody says this, and over time this comes to fruition, over time this works, and over time, oh, okay, I guess I can believe this stuff. And even after all the years of doing it and doing it and doing it, you will still hit up against, I don't know if I really believe this. And that's okay. And do it anyway. So we have a question here. I feel dark stuff come up in my sleep when I feel very light, like connected to my star family, and received activations and more understanding of my mission. And the next night, dark beings come, even though I did the sovereignty prayer, and they get around it and pretend to be somebody else. And I don't know why this is happening. I think I healed childhood trauma, so I don't sleep very much because of that. Okay. Yeah, this is a great message, and this is the interesting like dichotomy of this work, is that often when we're super connected and we have our light beings and we have our connection to source, and we're there, sometimes those other beings come in and we can feel them. And we, you know, I can't necessarily say exactly what's happening in your personal situation at this moment. There are times when you will be allowed the opportunity to be tested, allowed the opportunity to be completely tuned into your frequency, to be aware and conscious of other beings that are within the realms. This is a training point. It is a point of understanding and accepting what is, not from a place of fear, but from a place of complete understanding, complete awareness, to be able to navigate all of the realms with consciousness, as has been said, with awareness, with integrity, with commitment, and with seeking help, seeking guidance from your guides, from your teachers, from the beings of light that you are connected to. The beings that are often seen as dark beings, that are seen as those that we don't want to connect to, can often be there as great teachers, either to show us parts of ourselves that we have not integrated, to give us more information around what is happening in the other realms so that we can then assist others in their processes, or so that we can be of service to those beings as they seek the light. And to continue to uh, to remain in a state of self-inquiry, and to remain in a state of connection to the deeper guidance that's coming in underneath this. Yeah. So yeah, does that help? Okay, cool, amazing. So we get to ask questions, we get to have answers. I don't know what they are. All right, you guys. Well, honestly, this is like the end of the show here. So perfection. I want to thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you guys enjoyed this. I think this was a great conversation around this. I don't hear people talking about this enough, and it makes me super excited. So I want to have an offer for anybody who's here on the call, and thank you. Had kind of felt, but fear made me not surrender to it. Yeah, so it's just yeah, you got it. You got this. So a couple of things. First of all, if you want to jump on an integration call with me, I will have very little tiny baby number of those available, and I will be putting those out, a link to those out in the email when I send the recording of this video out, probably either tonight or tomorrow. And you can book one of those little short sessions with me, and we can just tune in and chat about anything that might have come up from the call that we had today, or anything that you're dealing with. And then also, Open Your Channel is starting at the end of October. This is going to be an incredible course. It's going to be 4 modules over 8 weeks. Retreat is an optional experience, so you can just do the online stuff. And this year I'm going to have coaching calls and a group channeling call. So if you're going to be able to practice with your community, even if you don't come to the retreat, but the retreat is epic, shouldn't be missed. I am offering you, for being in attendance on this call or listening to this call, the early bird pricing, which ended yesterday. I'm going to continue the early bird pricing for you because you're on the call. So if you are interested, you can reach out. We can jump on a call if you need more details, or I will also in the email send you more information on the program and what it's going to be like. And yeah, it's going to be amazing, incredible. I'm super excited about it, and adding some new stuff this year so that it's more more fleshed out and more supportive. It's going to be a longer program than last year. And then the retreat last year was epic, amazing. We all practiced 9 forms of mediumship, every single person. And Michelle Hawk, my dear shaman sister, is going to be coming in to help facilitate. She's an incredible channel. She's one of like the best channels ever. So like, I'm like, I don't even hardly have to do anything. It's so great. Uh, and also, yeah, so that's the main thing that's going on. Or if you feel like you need some individual support, some help with healing sessions, some mentorship, whatever's coming up and going on in your life, then reach out. Let's connect. And also, yeah, just if you feel the call, you feel like you need to reach out and say hi and ask a question or any of that, please do. Also, tune into Shaman Sister Sessions, a podcast on YouTube every week. That's also another offering that I offer. And next week, I can't remember what the name of the class will be, but I'll be having another class next week on, I think it's going to be channeling for healers, I think, for next Thursday as well. And that will be, or it's going to be the anatomy of channeling, I think, maybe. So I have 2 more master classes this month, the anatomy of channeling, where we're going to go into physical energetic structures that are actually occurring while we're channeling, and which is going to be fascinating. And then also channeling for healers. So I'll be announcing that and sending you a link with that with the next email. And much love, many blessings. Thank you so much for being interested in this work and for doing this work, being open to it. And I am so honored to be a part of your journey.